recently talked in a video about how I like battle pilgrims quite a bit right now, even if they're still holding their shields upside down. After all these years, yeah, it's a unit that at times I haven't felt great about, but right now, as Bretonnia stands, they have a lot going for them. Number one thing is they are an offensive kind of mid-tier infantry. They've got good weapon strength and melee attack. They don't have a straight anti-infantry bonus. They don't have dual hand weapons. Instead, they have that silly upside-down shield, which does give them a missile block chance. They've got Frenzy as well, yeah, especially with that Grail Relic, 47 melee attack for a relatively cheap kind of mid-tier, low mid-tier unit. Also have Loose Formation, which in this day and age of lots of things that can kill infantry, Loose Formation and Speed are quite nice. They're not the fastest, actually, and that is one thing I would say if Creative Assembly were to buff Battle Pilgrims, you could give them like +5, 6 speeds. They're like noticeably faster than the Bretonnian infantry. I think that would be pretty good, but Peasant Mob's also here up front in this replay from a Big Merc here. He's got, yeah, Battle Pilgrim with the Grail Relic on each flank, and then the Holy Wardens in the center, who don't need the Grail Relic because they're, of course, Regiment of Renown. They actually do have dual hand weapons, no anti-infantry bonus, but flaming magic damage, immune to contact effects, and yeah, overall great weapon damage. We've got some trebuchets, the Enchantress leading the way, Grail Knights, Companions of Cornell, Knights of the Lionheart, Questing Knights. Definitely a very heavy cavalry force as well against this absolute horde of orcs and goblins. Night Goblin War Boss, Goblin Shaman as well, Goblin Spears and Biggins, Orc Biggins that is. So plenty of anti-large with some Orc Boar Boy Biggins as well, anti-large Cavs, Spider Rider Archers for a little bit of the auxiliary kind of threat here. Run down archers potentially, but no archers were brought. Instead, it's all in melee with just a little bit of artillery to apply some pressure, which is going to start taking out some of these orc biggins right away. It's interesting, you know, the Greenskins are now in a position where you actually have quite a bit of variety of anti-large infantry to choose from. And I personally am a big fan of the orc spears, particularly here, because they trade very well into most Bretonnian infantry. Fine. Their weapon strength, you just punch them super hard. And yeah, I mean, the biggins are pretty good too, but they have a little bit less, well, they're a little bit more expensive. They do have more health and other things, obviously, but yeah, a little bit less kind of defensive in a way, which sometimes you do actually need to play a little bit defensively. Here we're going to get a nasty engagement, though. Knights of the Lionhearted get absolutely nuked by the Fermented Fungi. Despite the favor of the Fae there. We're also going to see a regrowth on these Grail Knights here. Yeah, those Knights of the Lionhearted just got absolutely savaged in that engagement. The Goblin Wolf Rider Archers now with Wah. Ooh, they actually didn't get a full rear charge there. But instead just kind of maybe chasing these Routing Knights here. Maybe trying to go back, get after this artillery. Yeah, it looks like the Moon Howlers got back there. Other Orc Boar Biggins shutting down trebuchets. Sure they can't continue firing. But that mobile engagement, bit of a mixed bag here. Definitely Bretonnia getting the worst of it. And the Peasant Mobs, no surprises, are going to rout. The one Battle Pilgrim here and the Holy Wardens also just get absolutely wrecked by the Rock Lobbers. The Hammer of Gork in particular applying that disgusting blinded contact effect. It's definitely the strongest contact effect in the game. And honestly, probably one of the most underrated artillery pieces in the game to this day. Well, I say to this day, more like in this day. You definitely used to see it as a staple in builds past, but ooh, nasty Fanatics casts right through this Cav line too. I guess the Heroic Fanatics, I was thinking like, who actually casted those? Must have been the Night Goblin War Boss with those. Don't ask me where he keeps them. But yeah, the Companions of Cornell and the Grail Knights still doing okay. And critically, we've got this one Battle Pilgrim alive here with the Grail Relic, and the Greenskins, Orcs, and Goblins scattered all over the field here. They've been chasing routing units. Goblins chasing routing Peasant Mobs is definitely working in Bretonnia's favor right now, I should say. They do still have this solid block of Orc Biggins here kind of at the center, but right now these Rock Lobbers looking a little bit exposed, and more than that, yeah, the Night Goblin War Boss actually finds himself Faye juices herself up with blessing, or the favor of the Fae, and also has the Grail Knights backing her up. That's going to be a nightmare situation for the old Squig boy, so he hops on away through his own Biggins, who are actually just as tall as him, even though he counts as large. Anyway, Spider the Bad Moon gets popped here, and that's going to be a really good response here. Extra anti-large, weapon damage. Yeah, right Good timing, you know, having that on cooldown. And surprised though, the Grail Knights aren't taking a lot of damage from that, all things considered. I thought at least the extra anti-large bonus would allow them to get some extra hits, but a good kind of collapse there. Faye is going to try and heal to stabilize things. This whole time, though, these Battle Pilgrims have just been working down units. We check in. Yeah, they're like 50 kills so far, but they're about to get into this big engagement where they will excel against the Biggins' low melee defense. Yeah, we got Companions chasing there. Knights of Lionhearted getting chased by Moonhowlers. It's a chasing going on both sides. Yeah, we get the Comet kind of set up in the back line to disrupt the formation a little bit. Then you see Pilgrims moving in. Again, with that frenzy, they're a little bit tired, so their melee attack is down a little bit, but still, 35 melee attack versus 28 melee defense. It's a decent hit chance for sure, but perhaps we'll see a favor of the Fae. That's the word I've been looking for, the ability rather, that gives plus 40 melee attack on a single target. Definitely is a really nice buff to have. Not to mention, of course, the Fae is also going to be getting her own drain damage from that Mrs. Lady, which isn't a lot of damage, but definitely can add up over time. Also, will debuff the melee attack of the Orc Biggins. So yeah, with that hammer and anvil there, it looks like they'll be able to shut down that formidable blob of Orc Biggins. Yeah, this Night Goblin War Boss also needs to get out of there quick before he gets turned on. But it looks like he uses that Tormentor Sword, Fermented Fungi, to do just that. Throws in the Orc Biggins there. And get countercharged by the Companions and the Fae. Wow, the Battle Pilgrims get led away. Yeah, Night Goblin Shaman trying to lead them away. The Hammer of Gork's still online. It's definitely a big deal. I think Big Merc needed to try and prioritize shutting that down earlier if he could. That blinded contact effect. When you see the effect here, that momentarily those Battle Pilgrims down to like 16 attacks, 6 defense. Just nasty. Yeah. Anyway, Wolves moving in. They're going to body block once more. The Moonhowlers absolutely outclassed here, but actually, yeah, they're just getting completely destroyed by the Companions of Quenelle. But at least, you know, have bought the Night Goblin War Boss a little bit more time to be alive. Perhaps. Not that he'll have much more of an impact here. I think he's spent most of his limited charge abilities. Orcs coming for one more charge from multiple directions. You see the Pilgrims still hanging around. Still got quite a bit of HP left. Yeah, this unit here, up to 102 kills, like 600 damage value. There's another unit over here has been supporting also. Done these units down like 600 damage value. So even though they're not world beaters by any means in this replay, just the fact that they're here and supporting makes me super happy. And I do think playing Bretonnia, Battle Pilgrims is definitely a unit that you should consider, I think, in a lot of matchups right now. Again, because of that loose formation, their high offensive output can actually like help fight some infantry. Not great against armor, so, you know, if you're fighting a faction that might spam a lot of halberds, like heavy halberds against you, probably not going to be the best option. But against a lot of other factions, and just as kind of a sort of staple backline unit, I guess. I don't know. Especially with the Grail Relics, it's a pretty expensive spend, granted, to combine them all together. But, you know, the Grail Relic also has other uses besides just giving that melee attack, obviously. And in general, it's an option for you to have, at least in the infantry department, that's something different, you know, and can definitely get in and get some good engagements. I mean, obviously here the heavy lifting is done by the Knights, it must be said. There's no questions about that. I mean, the Grail Knights at 2200, Faye at 1800, right? We've got the Companions of Quenelle coming back from the grave as well. They're a unit that used to be very popular and very good. Maybe we'll see a little bit of a comeback with some of the nerfs to the Grail tier units, but yeah, over here, pays for itself, 16,000 damage dealt, 230 kills. Yeah, also the regular questing knights do quite well here also. Yeah. Overall, nice kind of combined performance, but the Battle Pilgrims as a part of that, I mean, I guess gotta maybe add the Grail Relic value on top of that, because the Grail Relics don't generate innate value on top of it themselves, but let's see here. For Teddy Spaghetti's side, definitely had some nice plays there. Played it as well as he could, but I think just got a little bit too spread out and over chasing the peasant mobs, which definitely can happen. Even if there's just goblins, you know, definitely would have been nice to have them closer. That is one of the things I forgot to mention about goblin spears versus orc spears. Orc spears also have more mass, Granted, Biggins have even more mass, but I just think Orc Spears cut a nice kind of middle ground between the two of them. And so I'd probably go with like 5 Orc Spears and then kind of supplement around that, just from my own perspective. But I, would not an expert by any means. Have a silly little YouTube channel. But yeah, let's finish up with some discussion about pilgrims themselves. And now we can yeah, finish things. Anyway. Pilgrims, so only 600 points, right? And with the Grail Relic, that does basically go up to 1,000, which is pretty expensive. And yeah, with the two of them together, I don't know that I would necessarily expect them to beat like a comparable 1,000 cost, like Sword and Shield Infantry, like say Champions or something like Zargard. But again, in other situations, just as kind of a generalist support infantry, the Grail Relic also is going to be potentially supporting other units as well, right? So it's nice to have just overall, yeah, this Icon of Devotion affects other units, right? So if these guys are acting as an anchor, this melee attack, Immune Psychology Leadership will be acting on units as they kind of charge into them. Doesn't give as much benefit to your cavalry, obviously, but still, again, it's not necessarily that the value is only being applied to the battle pilgrims, but overall, yeah, I would definitely say solid unit to have. Again, their basic stats are all right, but with the frenzy, with that Grail Relic, with some buffs, whether you've got Albric, maybe giving him a little bit of anti-large against, like, say, ogres. I don't know if that's even something you should do, but it's something you can do technically. Or like Raponce, right, has some nice AoE buffs as well. Even something like a Diving Lewin with his Sword of Corone gives a nice melee defense and armor debuff, both of which will synergize great with the Battle Pilgrims, right? So there's some other ways to kind of augment their offensive abilities, as we saw with the Fey Enchantress there. The Favor of the Fey also can be used potentially. So yeah, Battle Pilgrims, I think, definitely deserve a look with the state of Bretonnia right now and kind of the state of infantry as a whole. They have a lot going for them that I think definitely deserve your attention. So anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.